Welcome to the Plant Trainers Podcast, where we're helping people improve their quality of life through nutrition and fitness. And now, your hosts, nutrition and wellness coaches, international speakers, Adam and Shoshana Chain.
Hey, I'm Adam Chain.
And I'm Shoshana Chain, and we are
Propelled by Plants. Today we bring to you episode 491, The Bounce Lifestyle with Steve Carver.
In this episode of the Plant Trainers Podcast, we talk with Steve Carver all about the Bounce lifestyle. We bought our kids a mini trampoline when we were in lockdown a few years ago to keep them active, but little did we know how beneficial they really are for the body and that we should have been bouncing on them ourselves. If running or jumping is too hard on your joints, or you just want to be overall healthy, you have to listen to this show. It's interesting to hear all about the ways people are bouncing into better health. And if you want to watch a little bit of my journey, you should check out our Instagram, because I'm going to be monitoring how my jump vertical changes as I bounce.
Steve Carver is certified through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. He's a personal trainer with over 30 years of experience and is the business and product development director at JumpSport. Steve is a trainer to the stars as well as a TV and radio fitness expert and celebrity himself. Research has revealed that trampoline exercises, often referred to as rebounding, are not only a safe and enjoyable means of training fitness, but also a more efficient form of exercise compared to jogging. JumpSport products have emerged in numerous publications, including the Wall Street Journal and USA Today. The fitness trampoline is equipped with revolutionary elastic spring technology, an elegant fit and finish, and unmatched stability. You're going to love this episode. It's really interesting. Enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, now it's more important than ever to stay close and connected to us, as we're going to be making some changes here at Plant Trainers. So please head over to planttrainers.com and get our plant-based comfort foods recipe book for free. That's a $14.99 value just by signing up for our newsletter so that you can know what changes are, because we want to make sure that we stay in touch.
And now for a moment of gratitude.
I'm grateful for the girls' time that I got to spend with our daughter in Florida.
I'm grateful for the good night sleeps that I get and waking up fresh when I get them.
Steve Carver, thank you so much for joining us on the Plant Trainers Podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
We can't wait to hear about the Bounce lifestyle. But before we get into that, we wanted to know if you have a moment of gratitude to share with us and the listeners.
Well, I would have to say, for me, I'm grateful every day that I wake up and I get to spend another beautiful day on this planet. That's my gratitude for the day.
And that should really be where everybody starts most days, right? Really, I feel like I just said this, really deep, but really simple at the same time.
Yeah, the reason I say that is because it really helps me have a good, healthy mental attitude to start my day. So if I'm just grateful to be here, then I can't have a bad day. So if my standard is very low, right? So what's your standard for a great day? Well, I woke up. And so if you set really high expectations every day of your life and you have all of these things, it's a good way to be disappointed because somehow life doesn't meet those expectations. And since we have no control over that, it's just best to be happy that you got to participate another day, and whatever comes, and be grateful for that. Perfect
mindset. I love that. Thanks for sharing that.
You bet.
So we want to know, what got you into a healthy lifestyle? What was the catalyst that said, hey, fitness is awesome. I want to be healthy. What was that for you?
I think it started because I, as a child, had a lot of excess energy. And, nowadays they have all kinds of labels for that. But in the olden days, when I was a youngster, they used to call that a very hyper child. So fitness was a place for me to put all of that energy into some sort of positive activity as opposed to being destructive, because the energy had to go somewhere. So I started at a very young age. My parents encouraged me to participate in youth sports and any kind of activities that kept me busy. As I got older, I found I really enjoyed not only, how I felt after I worked out, but mentally I was a lot more calm. I didn't realize it at the time, but now being much older, I realized that exercise is a really important component for your mental wellness as well as your physical wellness.
Do you find that if too much time goes by without you exercising, that you feel very different?
Absolutely. And again, I used to be kind of a workoutaholic, so to speak. And I came to realize a good, nice balance with that. But the days that I have now given myself to exercising, if I don't get to do it at the same intensity or duration, a lot of times I feel off.
Yeah, and I think that our brains rely on it. It's almost like when you're addicted to coffee, right? You have a cup of coffee every morning and you go one morning without coffee. By 10, 11 o'clock, you're feeling that headache come on. I think that we feel really imbalanced when we're used to working out and then we don't. And sometimes we don't figure out the answer is because, hey, we're not working out our bodies in the same way, but our brain really needs it.
I think a lot of times it has to do with personal routine too. So if fitness and exercise is part of your daily routine, that I think our bodies crave some semblance of a routine, and that is not only what you eat, how you sleep, but certainly how you move. And movement is a really important component of your daily routine.
Movement is, and that gets us towards bouncing and a bounce lifestyle. And when we had a conversation about this, I was going to say a couple of weeks ago, but I feel like it's almost a couple of months ago already. I was really intrigued by the bounce lifestyle and the impact on the body or lack of impact on certain joints. So
there you go.
How did you find the bounce lifestyle? Let's start there.
Okay, it's really a cute story, but I had been in the fitness industry about 20-ish years at that point, maybe 15 years. And I was on a reality show when reality shows were kind of hot. And I was the trainer to the stars that was on a show called Dud to Stud. And we took really skinny, out of shape, deconditioned people and made them fit. So we went the opposite, as opposed to getting somebody who's overweight and overfat and reducing their fat and getting them healthy. We had people that would be considered skinny fat, and so their body fat was high, but they weren't in really great shape. And then we took the opposite approach, and it was a really cute concept. And the reality was one of the sponsors on the show was JumpSport Fitness. And they brought to me this trampoline, and here I am. I've traveled around the country. I've promoted all kinds of things, and they hand me this trampoline. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do with a trampoline? But the cool thing is I realized that it was much, much more than a trampoline. It was a platform that now didn't have springs. It had bungee cords. It was quiet. It was much more forgiving. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing is really cool. And the more I played with it, the more I loved it, the more I used it, the more I realized it was just an endless amount of things you could do with it. And I realized that when I did use it, I didn't feel all beat up on all of those kind of exercises that I really loved to do. And that's what really introduced me to the product in the first place. And that's my funny story of how I got involved with the bounce lifestyle.
It probably went from dud to stud for you also. You were kind of like, what is this nerdy little thing? But then you saw the things that it could do.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I don't think that the company actually even knew what they had when they gave it to me. And I was able to kind of open Pandora's box using this nerdy little piece of equipment that my grandma had, right? We used to pull it out from under the bed, and then we would bounce on it. We didn't know what it was for, but we would use it for all kinds of things we probably weren't supposed to. and now they give me this new version of it that was so much more dynamic than I had ever expected. Like you alluded to, one of the benefits of it was that the impact on this platform was about half of what a normal spring-based trampoline would be. So it's even more forgiving than the ground. So ground-based exercises are the most impactful way to do exercise. Then there are other vehicles that you can jump on, things filled with air, things filled with foam, and then springs, and then you get to bungee cords. And the bungee cord system seems to be the most forgiving version of this kind of a platform to allow you to do all these high impact type of exercises, but then take away 80% of that impact, but yet get all the benefits of those same exercises.
So better on the joints, better on what else? What else is it good for? Who would this be perfect for besides everybody?
Okay, well, I would say anybody who wants to improve their mental wellness is first and foremost. So for me, it's all about health, right? So I'm about health first, and then all the rest of it is icing on the cake. So looking better and all that kind of stuff is great, but feeling better, I don't want to be in pain. I want to make sure that I get the most out of what I'm doing. I want to be able to efficiently work out. So anybody that's looking for a way to improve the amount of caloric expenditure, reduce their impact, and have a lot of happy hormones flooded into your brain, that's the ideal person to use this. Now, we have a joke at the company that says, focus on kids from 2 to 102. So really, we're targeting that inner child in anybody that really wants to have a good time while exercising. And I know you and me probably have been through all kinds of other types of exercise, and they're not always fun. Like, they're necessary. There's things you have to do that are going to be beneficial to your health. But I very rarely find things fitness wise that are like, when I get done, I'm really genuinely happy that I did that workout, because my brain is flooded with so many of these happy hormones like serotonin and your endorphins, dopamine, all of those hormones get pushed into your brain. Now, I don't have any true scientific proof of that. I can tell you this, though. UCLA Medical Center, that has what they call auditory center for kids, contacted me directly and said, hey, we really want to put JumpSport trampolines into our facility because of the amazing benefits we see with our kids that have auditory issues. So it could be anything from Tourette's, autism, anything that falls into that category. And they can't really be very specific due to laws in the state of California. But the reality is they were so pleased with the result they saw with these kids that they wanted to incorporate this product into their program. And so I asked the doctor, on the side note, like, what is it that you think is really happening here? And she looked at me and she said, it's releasing the deficiencies in their brain. Whatever chemicals are not in proper proportions for them, this particular movement, gravity and movement, is creating a situation that is releasing all of those hormones and giving them a sense of peace. And he goes, and I don't know exactly what that is because we're not measuring any of that, but I can see it in their behavior. So he's a behavioral specialist. So he can see by their change in behavior that using this product is now evoking the behaviors that they are looking for. Hence, they figured that they must be, through extrapolation, receiving what they need.
So imagine a child with severe mental health issues being able to bounce their way through it, or a child with ADHD who can't sit still anyway, being able to bounce through it. I mean, when I was a kindergarten teacher for 15 years, and if I knew that setting up a trampoline at the back of the class, or the back of where the kids were sitting, where those 1, 2, 3 kids can bounce their way through the storybook and be happier at the end of it, still hear everything that's going on, but their body was getting what they were needed, I would have done that 100%. In fact, I probably would have been reading the book, bouncing myself. Yeah, that could be really helpful and very beneficial, not just to them, but their peers as well. Because if we have these kids with severe mental health issues, severe ADHD issues, what have you, who are then calmer, who are then happier, their interactions with other people are going to be better, and they can have better relationships as well.
Well, the fact that you mentioned that, the thing is this: kids with low energy benefit from the trampoline because it raises your energy level. I always joke that 3 minutes on a trampoline is like a cup of coffee. So if you're feeling a little down, you're feeling a little foggy, you get on the trampoline, and all those same hormones and that those kids need to calm down, they're also the same hormones we need to pep up, to be in that equilibrium or a nice balanced state where we function really well and we feel like we're there and we're focused and we're in the moment. So it helps people that don't have those issues just as much as the ones that do, I think, on some level.
Well, that's what the body is essentially trying to do. It's trying to be in homeostasis. It's trying to have balance throughout all systems within the body. And the work that I do with cellular rejuvenation and cellular resistance, what I'm essentially doing is giving the body more of what it already produces to bring itself into balance. So somebody who has a low thyroid, that thyroid would be raised up, but somebody who has a higher thyroid, it wouldn't raise up as well. It would balance because the body's trying to create that balance. So it sounds like from a physical activity point of view, the body is able to get into balance for the best of its abilities throughout the bouncing.
Well, let's talk about that. Here's one thing. You talk about all these systems that you have to deal with, right? You have your lymphatic system, you have your circulatory system, anything that has fluid in it, right? And so some of them have a pump and some of them don't. Your lymphatic system does not have a pump, and it relies on two things: gravity and movement, both of which are created on the platform. So built into this, if you think about this as like, say, a Bosu ball on steroids. So it has all the benefits of these stability beads and pads, and yet it's also got a trampoline built into it. It's a very stable system, so you can use it for other things in a very stable capacity, like the frame is usable and all these things are usable in other capacities. But the beautiful thing about a trampoline is this.
We're just going to take a little break here because I want to share with you that growth is something that happens for everyone and every business. And we've been going through a lot of personal and professional growth here at Plant Trainers, and we want to stay connected with you. That's why we're giving away our plant-based comfort food ebook that's worth $14.99 for free at our website at planttrainers.com or by clicking the link in the show notes. Click on that, get on our newsletter because we're going to be making some serious changes and you need to be aware of what's going on. We look forward to connecting with you there. And now back to the show.
This particular setup has the ability to create up to 4 Gs of force. And there was a scientific study done by NASA that showed that using the trampoline after bringing astronauts back from space would also help build bone density, right? So they were trying to figure out ways to regenerate people, number one. Number two, we'll get back to the lymphatic system. Because it doesn't have a pump, it needs something to push the lymph through your system and remove all the toxins that build up along the way. And as your system, the garbage man goes along and collects all the things from the different places through the lymph nodes, pushes it out into your lymph system. Then it is pushed down and then it's processed out of your body. The trampoline, for every 10 minutes of bouncing on JumpSport, you'll increase lymphatic flow by 15 times. So you're working out, you're detoxifying your body while you're exercising. So it's kind of like you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. We talked about efficiency and what you're getting out of this besides just the physical part. And then think about this. When you compress your body and go to 0 gravity, you create a natural pump. Well, not only does that work on the major systems, but it works all the way down to that cellular level where every cell has fluid in it. So if I compress the cell and then that fluid is excreted back into the system, and then new good fluid can be pulled back into the system once it's been removed, this actually benefits you all the way down to that cellular level. And as you well know, our body sheds all of we basically every 26 or 28 days, we regenerate all of our cells every once a month.
Well, different cells have different lifespans. But when we were talking the last time, I mean, what we're doing is you're helping the body to create apoptosis regeneration, right? You're helping the body to regenerate, which is essentially like, imagine putting the Renew 28 gel that I was telling you about all over the body, right? Like all of my clients, all my listeners, before they bounce should be putting that on or run or jump or whatever it is that they're doing, because it's just going to speed up the body's ability to take care of itself and heal itself. But we talked a little bit about immune system. Can you talk to us too? How is the immune system improving by bouncing?
Well, think about this. So if your body is clogged down with a bunch of impurities and it's struggling to get all of that stuff out of your body, your immune system is not very efficient, right? So it's too busy because it's clogged. It's like having a drain that has a bunch of debris in it, and it wants to put more debris in there and get it out of you so that it can work efficiently. But like you said, we're working towards this balance thing. And if the garbage men are on strike, or if they're just really slow, or we don't have enough garbage men, then it takes a long time for your body to remove all the toxins. Whereas if I constantly am removing all your trash all the time, and your immune system can go in there and fight and then kill things and throw it in the trash and get it out of your system and go back to fight some more, right? Well, then it becomes much more effective and more efficient at being able to help you fight off other things and then produce more cells that are going to protect you, because all those other systems are more efficient at working optimally. So it's basically helping you to optimize all of the systems in your body, including your immune system. And I'll speak from personal experience. So when I really got heavily into bouncing and the bounce lifestyle, there's 2 different ways. There's exercising. I definitely work out on the platform, but I do what I call the health bounce. And a health bounce is really for my lymphatic system, which benefits my immune system. And in the 14 years that I've been using this pretty consistently, well, I survived the pandemic. I had COVID twice and didn't even know I had it both times. Maybe that's just I got lucky, or maybe it's because I have a healthy, balanced lifestyle and that my body's very efficient at protecting itself. I haven't had a cold in years that I can even remember. I haven't had the flu in at least 10 years. So there's only thing that's been consistently different in my life is that I use this bounce program of health and fitness on this platform that I believe has increased the ability of my body to work naturally against all of these things that are trying to attack it and age it and all of that. So
yeah, I think that's wonderful. And it's a huge difference between the amount of stress we probably put on our body when we're sprinting or when we're lifting weights that, right, we're putting so much stress on our body, which we need at times, especially if our goal is to build more muscle, right? We need to break down the muscle to build more muscle. But the bouncing seems to be easier on the body and also more overall beneficial for the body.
Well, again, it's going to help you do all those other things that you just mentioned without the impact. So
Right.
yes, there's going to be the less destructive part of exercise, because the stress, you need to place your body under load. And so it's important you do that. But then when you do it on the ground, you're going to have all of those, just the destructive part of that, which is more strain on your joints, more pressure on your back. All of those things are not necessarily beneficial to you, but necessary to do these exercises. This is going to help you pretty much eliminate 80% of that by just doing it on this, but still getting all the benefits of lifting weights and running and the things that we love to do, the happy hormones that get released when you run. Like, all of those things are really important to you. But if I can take away 80% of the impact, then it becomes far more beneficial to you long term. The beautiful thing about this too is also in recovery. So everybody knows the benefits of active recovery. So being able to go right from doing your strength training and getting on a platform that's going to allow you to continue to move and do active recovery, you're going to be able to work out longer, you're going to work out harder, and you're going to recover faster because you don't have as much impact, and your body's ability to recover based on using this in a multitude of ways is really a more beneficial thing as far as a platform to apply to what you already do. It's not like I have a grand plan of something new that's going to improve your life. You still have to exercise, you still have to lift weights, you still have to do cardio, you still have to do all those things. I'm just giving you a vehicle by which you can do it, and you're going to get 30% more effective muscle recruitment. You're going to burn more calories. You're going to recover faster, and you're not going to have the impactive nature of all those exercises that you're already doing. That's the real benefit of this.
So, for example, if you're doing bicep curls, you should be standing on your tramp to do it?
Yeah, and let me tell you why. Because if I put you in an unstable environment and you have to stand, you cannot cheat.
You have to activate the core. Yeah.
You have to brace. You have to be in the proper alignment. You can't have your elbows back or your elbows forward, or you can't lean to one side. You can't be lazy. And I tell people all the time, and I've been a personal trainer now for 30 years of my life, you can be really lazy on the ground. You do not have to engage anything, and you can still, gravity will hold you to the ground. You can be all over the place and not really be getting an effective workout, even though you're doing the same bicep curl that I'm doing standing on that platform.
Okay, so I'd like to know, can you improve your plyometrics? Like, can you improve your jumping ability from the ground by using a bouncer, by using a mini tramp?
Absolutely. And I'll give you a couple reasons why that is. So think about the platform as if you were standing in sand. So, a lot of people train for plyometrics and they jump in soft sand, because what happens is as you generate all that force and you push down into the earth, the sand gives way, right? You push in, the sand gives way. It's not a stable environment. The trampoline does exactly the same thing. So as you're standing on it, seems pretty solid. The minute you load and when you go to explode off of the surface of the trampoline is going to push away from you. So you have to generate more force to get the same height on the trampoline as you do on the ground. So then when you train on the trampoline and you go back to the ground, you now jump higher because the ground doesn't move. So all of that force that you've been working on and growing and building because you had to overcome the trampoline actually falling away from you, now the earth doesn't do that anymore. So all that force is now generated into height or explosive movement. Does that make sense?
It does. And one of my goals for 2024 is to become a higher jumper, because I play a form of volleyball and I want to block, and I want to block badly. So I need to jump up higher. I need to get my timing right also, but I need to jump up higher. So now I'm really planning, how am I going to incorporate this in? So let's say somebody doesn't have a mini tramp yet. they haven't gone to JumpSport yet. Is there any action that they could take at home to start bouncing without creating a lot of impact on their body?
Look, I always tell people start small. You can look, there's lots of things out there that you can do. A lot of people have a stability ball, right? So they have like they call it a Swedish ball or stability ball, and you can just sit on it and bounce up and down. Some people do jump rope. Some people can do hopscotch. Like there's a lot of simple games and things that we used to do as kids that we don't do anymore. Okay. All of those are great. You can slow down those movements to start by loading yourself and think about what it is exactly you are trying to accomplish. So I always break down the movement. So a squat is the beginning part of an explosive movement that you have when you're doing jumping, right? So you're going to squat down, you're going to load, and then explode. So I always put a vest or a weight vest on, and I load myself, and then I don't think about how high can I jump. I get down and I jump, so I just barely come off the ground, and then I practice going down in a nice soft manner so that my knees are like shock absorbers. And I practice the beginning part of that explosive movement, right? So I don't throw my hands. I don't use any of that part of my body to start, and I only concentrate on my legs. So I load it in a squat. I weight myself with either some dumbbells or a vest or in some other capacity. And then I jump, but I only come 1 to 2 inches off the ground because I'm learning that very first part of the explosion, the very first part, because what people don't realize, when you want to be able to jump high, your arms are almost as important as your legs. So you're going to load that movement. And then as you jump in unison, you're going to fire your arms straight up in the air as hard as you can at the same time that you're jumping with your legs, which is going to give you the lift that you need. I dare anybody to go and just jump and don't use your arms. Just jump off the ground and see how high you can actually jump without using your arms. So it's a really key component that most people ignore. So make sure that you work on that part, that explosive part of your arm movement just as much as the legs, because you're going to see an increase in vertical jump by increasing the quickness of your arm explosion.
I'm going to suggest that people make sure that they're in an area where the ceiling's not too low. So basements might not be the best part to start your training. So that's my warning to everybody today. Steve, you've given us such amazing information. If people want to find out more about JumpSport or where to get one, where would you like them to go?
Well, I'll tell you what, for people who just want to kind of find out what JumpSport's all about and see all the fun ways you can use this product, you could go to our Instagram account. It's at JumpSport Fitness. Okay. And then if you really want more information, our website is probably the best place to find any kind of scientific information. The NASA study that I mentioned, there's other studies on there that'll be instrumental in people understanding the benefits of using this. And that would be jumpsport.com/fitness.
Perfect. So we are going to link those in our show notes at planttrainers.com. I would love for everybody to head over to Instagram at planttrainers.com to see the post that is putting this podcast out, get part of the conversation, and definitely check out more information on how this can work for you. I think especially for those people that want to be active and are suffering from not being active because the ground is just too hard for you and too much impact, this can be an amazing, amazing opportunity for you to get back into it. Thank you so much, Steve, for being a guest on the Plant Trainers podcast today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Hope to see you again soon.
Thank you all so much for listening to this edition of the Plant Trainers podcast. We want to make sure that you subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platform.
We really appreciate the feedback we receive from you. Every time we get a 5-star rating or review on iTunes from one of our fans, it really helps other people find us just like you did.
Thanks so much to our patrons. To become a patron, visit us at patreon.com/planttrainers. Even supporting us with $1 really makes a difference in the quality of the show.
And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram and Twitter. Our handle is at Plant Trainers. Like Plant Trainers on Facebook, join our newsletter, and check out our website at planttrainers.com for awesome recipes, a list of our services, and of course, our latest podcast.
We encourage you to email your questions to info@planttrainers.com so that we can help you improve your quality of life through nutrition and fitness.
So we hope we've inspired you today. Join us again next time and have a healthy day. Or is that too corny?
It's a little cheesy.